Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan, and it is Monday, which means it's time for the Gameweek 24 tier list video, where we're going to rank some transfers. Very keen to get into this one, so if you do enjoy, please do leave a like, please do subscribe. Let's have a look at this tier list. Alright, so at time of recording, we've got the 30 most popular transfers in. We're going to rank them on the page. And remember, guys, we're ranking players on how good they are as a transfer, not how good they are as a player. So if you've got one of these players, even if they're low ranked kind of on this tier list, that doesn't mean they're a bad player to own. It just means they're a bad player for new people to be bringing in. So let's get on with it. Starting with De Bruyne, the 30th most popular transfer of the week. I can't believe we're doing 30 players this week, these days. I'm going to put him in optional. His numbers have been pretty low. He's not a player I'd be keen to own. Like, even if you do have him already, I would consider maybe moving him on to maybe a Mo Salah for the double game week in Gameweek 25. So I think he's optional. I'm not really happy putting him any higher than that. Don't think he's quite bad enough for an avoid, but he's certainly not good value for money at the moment. Mitrovic, I guess, is also optional. A good thing about him is he does at least have a fixture in Gameweek 25, and that is definitely something we need to be considering. So let's put him in optional. I don't think he's a particularly amazing player to go for right now. Fulham aren't creating as many chances or scoring as many goals as they were in the kind of the pre-World Cup kind of situation, and Mitrovic's numbers have been kind of like inflated by his penalties at the moment, so he's not actually doing as well as he could be doing. He seems to have dropped off a lot, so I don't think he's a very good player to own as much as he was previously. Still okay, but nothing particularly special. In Kedia, I'm going to put... It's really difficult to put any players in the must-buy category this week, because I don't think this is actually a week where it's essential even to make transfers full stop. I think this is a week where you can kind of roll a transfer. But if I had to put one player in must-buy for this game week, I guess I would have to consider putting Nketiah in that situation, and the reason is because he has got the highest predicted points over the next 4 game weeks of any player in FPL. Obviously, we do have that double game week in 25 for him, which is really, really nice, and you know, he's a good cheap player. He's got really good underlying numbers. He's actually underperforming slightly, so we expect him to catch up and score a few more goals. I think he's a good pick. Good fixture next game week as well. We've got Aston Villa for game week 24. Next week, I mean this week. So it's a good fixture considering that team, Aston Villa, has conceded 7 goals in their last 2 games. Surely there's going to be opportunities for Nketiah, and if there is, then he's going to do very well and then go into the following week, which is a double game week. So still think he's a really, really good pick. Incredibly high predicted points as well over the next 4. So look, looks good to me. So we're going to put him in must buy. First avoid of the day, I'm going to put in as Tim Ream. Although maybe I'm going to move him up to optional, and the reason is, it's because actually I quite like Fulham's defence at the moment. I like they have a fixture in Game Week 25. He would not be the pick I would go for personally at Fulham. I'd rather go for Tete, 4.4 million and slightly better attacking numbers. So Tete at cheaper is actually a slightly better option as well. Doesn't do quite well as well on bonus points as Ream, but he's pretty close, and the attacking threat I think makes up for it. So yeah, Tim Ream, not a player I would go for, but I think the fact that he's got a fixture in Game Week 25 does keep him out of the avoid section, which is going to be full of players who are blanking in 25. Almiron, I feel like he's an avoid. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, guys. Almiron was playing against Bournemouth. You know, we've seen his numbers. We've seen what he's done over the last few game weeks. I know people will see a big score and, you know, desperate to rush a player back in, but there's a reason why people have been selling Almiron so much recently, and even if you do still have him, I would be considering selling him. He has got some you know, some not great fixtures. Liverpool next is not a bad fixture, to be fair, but you know, after that we've got blank in 25, Man City in 26. I would not be going near Newcastle players at this point personally. Let's go to Saliba next. I don't know if I'm happy to put him very high, but look, you could do a lot worse than Saliba right now, so I guess he goes in optional. We do have that double game week coming up. He's not exactly the kind of Arsenal player I'd be picking. Rather go for Gabriel. Spoken about enough times already, but going to stick him in optional. Kepa, think I'm going to put him in good transfer. He is a goalkeeper who seems to be getting a lot of points recently. A rare blank from him in game week 22, but looking forward, I think he's going to do pretty well, score some more FPL points. So yeah, I think at this point, those of you who don't have Kepa in your team, you're probably falling behind. At some point, maybe it's going to be the time to buy him in, particularly if you are currently owning a goalkeeper who blanks in game week 25. Maybe you feel like you want to make that goalkeeper switch. You don't have a backup goalkeeper you're happy to play in 25. Then maybe Kepa is going to be your answer to that problem. Nick Pope, avoid straight away. I'm gonna get comments about this because people are gonna say, "What do you mean? Pope is a great keeper to own." Yes, I know, but he's not a great goalkeeper to buy right now. Liverpool, blank, and then Man City. If you already have Pope, fine. Maybe you can hold out with him until game week 25. But for new Pope owners, like, this is not a good transfer in. I will die on this hill. I really don't think Pope is a good transfer in, and I would really like to see someone convince me otherwise. The maybe one exception could be, like, if you're free hitting or planning on free to hitting in game week 25 anyway, so you don't need to have that goalkeeper for 25. Then, look, there's a small argument, but at the same time, we've got Liverpool one side, Man City the other side of the blank. It's just not a good 3 fixtures for Newcastle. And you can say whatever you like about Liverpool's kind of defence, but they are still creating a lot of chances. So I wonder if, Newcastle could go another game, concede 1 goal, 2 goals. Maybe 2 goals is a stretch for a team like Newcastle, but you can see them conceding in a game against Liverpool, I would probably say. Thiago Silva, he's an okay buy. I mean, you get involved in the Chelsea defence, fairly nailed on. I would prefer to go for Badiashile at the Chelsea defence, and there is another Chelsea defender who is not too much more expensive than Thiago Silva that I think you could consider from Chelsea, but we'll get there. Right, we've got 2 players coming up next that I really like. These are what I would consider very, very good transfers. Great transfers, in fact. So let's put the first one in. James Tarkowski. Like this one a lot. Everton, defensively solid. Now, we're hoping under Sean Dyche. We've kind of seen that already against Arsenal. I know I'm recording this video before the Liverpool game, so let's see what happens in that game, I guess. But certainly, we're expecting good things from Everton's defence moving forward. More chances from optimism. 4.2 million for Tarkowski is a very, very good value for money. He does offer a little bit of attacking threat from those set pieces, but most of all, he has a double game week in 25. And in a situation where a lot of people are going to be struggling to even field a full 11 in game week 25, we have here a super cheap defender that you can bring in to kind of replace, if you've got, Brentford defenders, Ben Mee, if you've got Newcastle defenders, Fabian Schär, if you've got Botman maybe, or maybe Luke Shaw, and you want to start replacing some of these players to cover yourself for game week 25, Tarkowski is one of 2 players who I think should be at the tippy top of your list to replace these kind of guys. So Tarkowski looking good. Here's the other one for you guys, Kilman. I'm gonna put him in just behind Tarkowski, but very, very close. Slightly more expensive. I think Wolves are not going to perform quite as well defensively as Everton, but Wolves do have a good fixture up next. We've got a good fixture in 24. Slightly better double game week in 25, but maybe not such a good player you want to be owning long term, I would say, with Kilman. But there's still huge advantages to go for Kilman. If you can maybe get Tarkowski and Kilman into your team, they are so cheap. If you have them both in game week 25, you're swapping out these blank game week players for these 2 guys. I think that's going to look really, really good for your team. Loads of fixtures, teams that are capable of keeping clean sheets. Kilman with a little tiny bit of attacking threat as well. But what's most important about him is that he is pretty super nailed on, really. So Tarkowski, Kilman, super nailed on. Like these transfers a lot, so happy to put them in the great transfer category. I'm going to have at least one of them come the game week 25 deadline, let me tell you that. Next up, we've got Fabian Schär. So like I said, he's a player I'd be looking to replace right now, so let's put him in the avoid section. I think that's pretty easy. I'll put Botman in a similar situation. We don't want to be going for Newcastle defenders at this moment. Just think it's a bad time to buy them. Next up is Raya, straight in the avoid category. I think I put him pretty much, I don't know. The thing is, I like the look of Raya for a clean sheet in 24, but it's that blank game week 25. So again, if you're free hitting, and it's so difficult to make videos at this time of the season, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make content, that kind of works for everyone. But there are going to be some of you who are free hitting in game week 25, and therefore a lot of the things I'm saying in this video aren't actually going to apply to you. But in general, I think it's going to be a minority of people free hitting in 25. I think a lot of people who do end up free hitting in 25 will be doing so because maybe they've kind of been forced into the situation. Some people will be planning for it, which is absolutely fine as well. But I think the majority of people will be forced into it and may not even, be thinking about it yet. It might be actually be the game week 25 deadline where they say, oh my word, I need to free hit. So yeah, most people are going to be saving their free hit, so therefore I've got to try and make videos to mainly kind of apply to those guys because they're in the majority. Difficult, I know. Right, okay, Bruno Fernandes. Now this is a difficult one he has got a blank in 25. So in general, would I be looking to buy him? No. But I actually think he's been playing very well. He's a player I have in my team currently, and I'm actually thinking about holding him over the blank game week, because I like the look of this Leicester fixture. We've got a Liverpool fixture on the other side, and we know we're going to have double game weeks coming up for Manchester United as well. So, all in all, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to buy a player who's blanking in 25, maybe make sure it's a player who can pay off. Make it pay off for you in and around that blank. And I feel like Fernandes could be that guy, but still, I'm not going to put him very high on this tier list. And one of the reasons I'm putting him so low in optional is because I think I'm going to run out of room in avoid. So I'm going to have to move some of the avoids up to optional, I suppose. I'm going to put Tony in a similar situation as well, because the thing is with Tony, we've got a good game against Crystal Palace next. We have got a blank after that, so he would, again, really not keen on bringing in blanking players right now. But it's a good fixture against Crystal Palace. It's a fixture that's, I don't know, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. In fact, I've put Tony in slightly early. I should have put him in slightly later on in the tier list, because he is actually one of the most popular players transfers in, and he shouldn't be as popular as he is. But double game week coming up, good fixture against Crystal Palace. He is the kind of player that you might want to hold over the blank 25, like genuinely. So, look, we're going to put him in optional, but yeah, I'm not going to put him any higher than that. Iheanacho, difficult fixtures, but, you know, done very well recently. So let's put him in good transfer. The fixtures are bad, though. Just be aware of that. Fixtures are very bad. We've got Manchester United. We've got Arsenal. This is not good fixtures, really. But look, Arsenal have shown some fragilities recently, so have Manchester United. So look, maybe it can go okay. Reece James, don't mind that as a transfer either. We've got a Gameweek24 fixture. We know that James has a very high ceiling, can score those mega points. That's pretty nice indeed. Ødegaard, double game week coming up. He's going to be one of those players who's predicted to score a high amount of points. I would still be trying to make sure you got that triple Arsenal, even though the form has been a little worse, but I think Ødegaard has to go up there. Estepinian, because of that blank, it does put me off, because I do think we're going to have to rely a little bit on our defenders for that blank game week to try and get something really. Yeah, Estepinian, if you have him, you're going to want him for the double in 27. But for now, like, we're a little early for him. We're a little early. We are going to need to get some more Brighton players in. If you already have Estepinian, I probably wouldn't sell him. But if you don't have him already, I probably wouldn't buy him. Harry Kane, it's difficult at this moment, because we saw how Spurs were against Leicester. They're so up and down, and Kane didn't offer too much in that game. He's still a fairly decent player to own in FPL, though, so I think we still have to put him in the good transfer category. Enzo, I think, is kind of low optional. You could go for him. He is very cheap, and he does look like he is going to be offering something a little bit creatively, taking shots from long range, but I think there's going to be a lot of better players to go for than Enzo around his price point. So for that reason, I would not be going for him personally. But look, there is some things to like there. Mitoma, I think you're probably, if you have him, you keep him. If you don't have him, you don't buy him. Same with March. Mitoma is obviously a very good player. A little shout out to McAllister as well, who is currently playing as the number 10 whilst Lallana is out. And if McAllister keeps playing in that position, he could actually be the midfielder to go for. But for now, I don't think we should be bringing in more single game week players. Blank game week players, or blank 25, because we've only got one game week now for it to pay off. So can we just wait until game week 26? I think so. Like, if you're not free hitting in 25, do we really want to be bringing in the likes of, you know, Brentford and Brighton players? Can we just hold off? Just for like, all we need to do is wait one more game week, and then you may as well wait another game week anyway. You've only got one game week that these players are going to be playing in. So wait. Just wait. I think just wait. Shaw and Rashford will put in next. I think, I guess they're avoids as well. Let's just shove them in. Rashford maybe not so much, because he is a player who can, you know, Rashford could score a 15-pointer in game week 23. What are we on? Game week 24. And kind of make up for the fact that you might have to take a -4 to remove him again. He's another one of those players who I don't think I would remove either. So I feel like we actually have to move Rashford. Even though he blanks in 25, he's still a good pick, isn't he? He still is a good pick, really. So let's put him all the way up there. Still in optional, but he's a player that you've got to own right now. Bench him in Game Week 25. And he's going to make it up to you in and around Game Week 25, you would hope. Maddison's an interesting pick right now. Don't mind him. Again, difficult fixtures. Leicester can sometimes do it against the difficult games, though. So, yeah, let's put him in good transfer. I'm happy to go there. When Maddison is fit and available, you know, he can often produce some really nice FPL returns. So, happy to put him up there. Ben Mee, no, don't think I would be going for him right now. Decent chance of a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, but at 4.9 million. For a player who you're going to have to sell again. And Ben Mee is a player who you probably would be selling in Game Week 25 for the likes of Tarkowski and Kilman. Seems a little bit of a waste of time to me. So, yeah, let's make sure he's in the avoid section. Saka, going to put in great transfer. Still the Arsenal guy to own probably right now, alongside Nketiah. Saka is a little bit easier to get into your team, though. Saka on penalties as well. Hopefully we can see some of that. Maybe in the Man City game, Saka owners can get rewarded there. So, yeah, put him in great transfer. Mahrez, I'm going to put him in optional. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. I would not be buying Mahrez this week. Personally, we're about to go into the Champions League for Man City, back into the Champions League, and that's going to be difficult. You know, I think that Mahrez will play against Arsenal, but then when we get to the Game Week 24 fixture, I think he's then benched for the little rest so he can play in the Champions League. And I can't see him playing, you know, every single game. You know, 2 games a week seems a little bit much for a player like Mahrez, who doesn't typically play quite that many games. So yeah, we're going to put Mahrez in optional. Only because I know a lot of you guys will be very keen to get in Mahrez, and I appreciate there's probably other opinions out there. For me personally, I would not be touching him this week. He's not going to play in 24, or plays limited minutes in 24. Can't see him playing too many. And in Game Week 25, when we really desperately need our players to start, I would prefer to go for someone who is a little bit more reliable. But Mahrez, high risk, high reward. It's just, for me personally, I wouldn't want to take the risk, but he is a player who is good enough with those rewards that he is definitely an option. He's definitely an option, I would say. Just not one for me, personally. I just don't want to go there. Too risky. Joao Felix is the final player. Felix he looks so good. Is he a great transfer? I think he is. I think Joao Felix is... I'm sold on him. Watched him for 2 games now, or maybe 1.5 games because of that red card in his previous game. He looks phenomenal. His numbers are great as well. He is going to be the key to Chelsea actually getting some goals this season, because they've been massively lacking in attack. And Joao Felix seems to be... He's going to be the solution. He's going to be the solution to everything. It certainly seems that way. 7.5 million, that's not such a bad price either. So if you think Chelsea are going to be resurgent, and you've got to go for one Chelsea attacker, it's got to be this guy. The only difficulty with Felix is how you're going to fit him into your team. Because it is going to be difficult. If you've got Haaland, if you've got Harry Kane, if you've got Nketiah as well, how do you fit him in? But if you've got the likes of Mitrovic, you know, you're thinking about removing him. If you've got Tony, maybe you want to keep him for this week, but maybe you want to remove Tony in Game Week 25, possibly. Hey, this is not a bad shout, really. And, you know, I think the fact that Chelsea are playing against Spurs in Game Week 25, Spurs who are conceding goals at the moment, maybe that does kind of lend itself to going for a player like this. It could be a kind of an interesting differential, really interesting differential. And if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be very excited right now and would possibly be putting him into my team through pure bias. But I'm not. But I am still considering him and trying to figure a way of how we can start to implement him into our team. But yeah, certainly if you're like a Mitrovic owner and you're not happy with him, if you are a Martial owner still, something like that, some forward that you're not too keen on, I think Joao Felix could be the player to go for. You know, especially if you're not keen on Nketiah, or you've already got tripled up on Arsenal. So there you go. Like him a lot. And I think that's going to conclude the tier list. I've rushed through it a little bit more today because I appreciate that the tier list videos have been going... They've been a little bit too long. They've been like pushing half an hour recently. So I thought we'd try and do around 20 minutes today. So yeah, that's going to be the final tier list. I think I've got things mostly correct. We're going to have some pushback from free hitters who are going to say, hey, I think Tony is a must-buy. If you're free hitting, then fair enough. I feel like Tony is actually a decent transfer if you're free hitting in 25. And I'm sure there's going to be people who just don't even care about blank game weeks and think you can make up the -4 points or -8 points it might take to transfer a player in and then out again in just one game week with the likes of Ben Mee. If you think that's going to be possible, then fair enough, enjoy. But I can't really see Ben Mee outscoring whoever you've got now by 8 points or more. Hey, but it could happen. Stranger things have happened in football. Football and FPL is a wonderful game. And there is my tier list. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Really does help out the channel so much. Do subscribe if you're new around here. We have got plenty of videos this week to talk about Game Week 24. It's going to be an interesting one because I feel like a lot of people are not going to be making transfers. So maybe we'll see, I don't know, a quieter week. Don't know. We'll see, I guess. But anyway, I do appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you just enjoyed the general FPL chat, I guess. And I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Buy, sell, keep, avoid. Be there or be square. And I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.